Welcome back, everyone. In the last episode I showed you how to make this cube through extrusions. In this episode I'm going to show you how to make what's called an assembly. To start, I realized that we never named our cube. So if we wanted to name our cube, for example, we would come over here and hover over this part 1. So this part 1 is our cube. If I click on this eyeball right here, it disappears. If I click on it again, it shows up. So part 1, it's not really descriptive of what this cube is, and if you had a bunch of parts, which as I'll show you later, you can have more than one part inside of a part studio. You want to have clear names so that you know which part is which. To do that, we want to right click on part 1, go all the way up to rename and name it. So I'm going to call this cube. Yeah, we'll call it cube. Hit enter, and there we have it. It's cube. So if I wanted to make something out of these cubes, for example, if I wanted to make an L shape, I would need to use what's called an assembly. To use an assembly, which is basically just a bunch of parts put together, and kind of like how you would build a Lego piece, for a bunch of Legos put together, for example. I'll come over here and I'll click on insert, left click on insert. Then you'll want to come down and click on cube. So if you look, it's saying inserted 1. We've got one cube here. I can drag it around and see where it goes. So I'll left click that. The cube stays right there. I'll come over here and I'll left click on the check mark, and now I have a cube. One thing you'll notice is that I can drag this cube around, and we don't necessarily want that, but we'll talk about that in a second. What I'm going to do next is add more cubes, because the whole point of an assembly is that I can build a lot of things out of just a few parts. What I'll come over here and do is click on insert again, and I'll click on cube, but this time I want to insert 3 cubes. So if I click on cube again, you'll see down here this number went to 2. If I click on it again, now it's at 3. I'll left click out here in the white space, insert it goes to 3, and then I'll come over here and click the green check mark, left click. So I thought I inserted 3 cubes, but I only see 2. What's up with that? Well, Onshape does this kind of funky thing sometimes where it puts the cubes over each other, so you can't really tell the difference. So if I left click on this and I just drag, I can just pull cubes out of this. So there we go. Now we have the 4 cubes that we inserted, and they're all kind of in this space. And as we talked about, you can click your mouse wheel and drag it around, or zoom in on the mouse wheel, or right click and rotate around. So all of these cubes are just floating in space, and I can drag them around. And I don't necessarily want that right now. I want to build an L shape out of it. So what I need to do is called fixing. And fixing just says that one of these pieces is always going to be in the same place and everything else is built up around that. So I'm going to pick this original cube that we put in. I'm going to right click over it and then go over here to fix. If I click fix, what you'll see is this icon right here. And all that means is I can't drag this cube like I can this one. So now I've got one cube that's fixed, and I want to attach the rest. So one thing I could do, if I was trying to do this really quick, I could just drag these cubes around, and I could just make an L. But what you'll see is that doesn't actually work. Let's look at that. It only works from one angle, and maybe you can do it from all of them, but you can always still drag it. So you want some way to fix it, to constrain it like we were with the sketches, but with just these. So to fasten or to connect things together like these cubes, we will use what's called make connectors. So make connectors use all of these things up here. And right now we're going to use what's called a fasten mate. So you left click on fasten mate, and it wants you to click on some mate connectors. So if I highlight over this, you'll see this kind of funky symbol right there, or you'll see it right there. You see it drag around with you. So to start, let's click on this one. So I'm going to left click, and you'll see this is highlighted in yellow, and it's listed right here. And then if I wanted to pick another cube, let's say the bottom of this one, I would click that. And now it just pops them together right there. So that's what I wanted. I'm going to go over here and hit this green check mark. And now this is connected, and I can't drag it. And I can't drag this one either. So if I wanted to make an L, what I would need to do is fasten this one to this one. But wait, it just disappeared. What happened? Well, what happened is that cube, we basically clicked on the same face. And so the way to fix this is to go and click this button on the far left, which says flip primary axis. And all that does is move that cube around. So if it makes sense, we're just flipping that cube and putting it inside this one, and now we're bringing it out so we can see it. So that looks good. That's how I want it. I'm going to go over in here and hit this left green check mark. And everything's looking good. This is the start of my L, so I have one more piece. I'm going to go back here and click fasten, click on this one, and click on this one. Uh-oh, our cube disappeared. What are we going to do? We're going to click this, and now we can see our cube. If I hit the check mark again, now we have this entire L, nothing moves, and that is a completed assembly. Now, what we can do is name this assembly. So I can come down here and right-click on the assembly, move this record stuff out of the way. Right-click on the assembly, go to rename, and I can call this My Assembly. Hit enter, and then it's done. Let's say I want to do the same with the Part Studio. I'm going to call this My Part Studio. Again, all I did there was right-click on it and then go to rename. So, to recap, in this video, I showed you what an assembly is and how to assemble with cubes. Now, what I didn't get into is all of these other things, and we'll be doing that later in future videos. Thank you. See you next video.